A second, but first, Wizards and Suns, and Jeff Green turns back the clock with this dunk on Dragon Bender.
Jeff Green. What up, Steve?
Jeff Green trying to get some get back, man.
Of course.
After he got his foot stepped on in L.A. the night before.
Listen, Jeff Green, this is the time of year he's got to turn it on. About to be contract time for Jeff Green. Go get that money, my man.
Warriors and Grizzlies.
Reunite with LeBron.
Different Green. Draymond unleashes the full court pass to KD for the buzzer beating.
Randy Moss, he mossed him.
He did.
Oh, yeah. 2.2. Great play. Great throw by Draymond. Great catch by KD, putting his body on him, shielding, making sure you keep the ball over the outside shoulder, just the way I teach it to the kids. Okay, KD, I like it.
Lakers Jazz. Donovan Mitchell spins away from Lance Stevenson and slams it home.
Now, I'm going to tell you, you always try to give JaVale McGee credit. Like, man, Chris, he's really smart. Oh, yeah. He's really smart. He's getting ready to get punched on right here.
Well, I'm not going to give him credit for this. You're 7'2", JaVale. Go up and contest.
You said he was smart.
Listen, I said off the court he's smart. You told me I have to stop.
He was off the court.
Okay, yeah.
Same game. Scott Machado tosses up the alley-oop to Alex Caruso, who puts it down.
The old Scott Machado to Alex Caruso. What is this, Karate Kid? Alley-oop.
Didn't we think about moving the show to L.A., man? Didn't someone...
Chris was like, man, Nick, with your relationships with the Lakers going to be important, we got to do this show in L.A. Now it's a Machado-Caruso combo.
And you can see with his relationships, we're in New York City.
Sticking with the Lakers. That was a real laugh. I would never have laughed like that.
It's so funny.
Among their many needs this offseason, a new head coach. All signs pointing to Luke Walton being let go after this disappointing season. The Lakers reportedly have their sights set on Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle. The issue there being Carlisle's under contract with Dallas until 2023. When asked about it, Mark Cuban said, LOL, LOL, that's my quote. Nick, what's the most important quality in the Lakers' next head coach?
Proven, established coach that understands modern offensive basketball, in short. And a guy that understands how his team cannot just get mollywopped in the 8 to 12 minutes a game LeBron doesn't play. No, seriously. The 8 to 12 minutes a game LeBron doesn't play, don't get outscored by a dozen points, like has been a problem for LeBron not only this year but the last few years, if we're being honest. But I'm really curious who is, I tried to do some digging on this when I saw this yesterday, and I can get no straight answer. Who is leaking these names? How was Rick Carlisle ever a realistic option? Like, I didn't understand it. Like, we mentioned it yesterday. Of course, he'd be a great fit. He's one of the 5 best coaches in basketball. You could argue he's the 2nd best coach.
Yeah, he's in the 5 best coaches, but probably one of the most underrated coaches. So even if people want to question, oh, that might be a little high for him. Well, he's definitely one of the 2 or 3 most underrated coaches. The way he teaches basketball, the scheme that he runs, and the atmosphere that he has with Mark Cuban, everything that they do as far as taking care of the players. Let's not forget who the Dallas Mavericks were. The Dallas Mavericks were the first team that had duplicated their locker room. They duplicated their locker room because they wanted the visiting team to feel like they were at home. So any potential visiting player felt like, as a free agent, this is how we treat the people. Mark Cuban catered the meals for the visiting team. Only team in the NBA to be able to do it. So
they're playing. Their plane is a luxury nightclub. Like the Mavs are as good of an organization in sports. They now have an incredibly bright future.
Yes.
You've got Luka Doncic. You have Chris Stapps, who I understand people are a little ambivalent on him, but they feel they're bullish on where they're going. And Carlisle's a champion there. So like the idea, I expect Pop to be the next Lakers rumor. Listen, Los Angeles, you're in a rough spot on the coaching search because you do not have the luxury of going with a Nick Nurse type. And by that I mean, hey, an up-and-coming assistant coach that we think could be really good.
And the reason why you can't do that one is because that was the plan you just had.
Well, it was the plan you just had, and you cannot go for upside, you have to go for certainty. Because you've got 2 or 3 years to contend with LeBron as an MVP caliber player. And I know some people think maybe that's too many years, like that's maybe it's only 1 or 2 years. I'll say 2 or 3 years as LeBron as MVP caliber player. So you have to go with the known quantity. So the known quantities are Ty Lue and guys who have been fired because they didn't work out other places, or guys currently in the league. But what you can't you can't just shoot for bullseyes. Like, Carlisle is a spectacular coach. He's one of only a handful of coaches in the league that has won a championship with his current team. Those guys
under
don't
contract, and Cuban loves him. No one's going to let him. I mean, there's just so many reasons.
To me, too, it speaks to the mismanagement that the Lakers have constantly done under the new regime. Well, let's just put two names out there that, guys, I know I can't get. Doc Rivers already has a secret agreement with the owner. They just hadn't signed it. It's just a matter of time. So that was laughable as far as that name being released. Rick Carlisle going to coach, leaving Dallas when Dallas just got right. Like, they're going to be in the lottery, and now with the 2 stars, Dirk Nowitzki is holding off retirement. You know the reason why? Because things are bright in Dallas. Things are nice in Dallas. It makes no sense for Dirk to retire. He might as well stay an extra year. That's how good things are for the Mavericks right now.
And so the other thing, to circle back to your question, I didn't mean disregarded. The other most important thing, other than the X's and O's part, and I mean understanding the modern NBA offense, which I don't think Luke Walton does, and I think a lot of coaches in the NBA, to be fair, don't. I'm not sure Mark Jackson does, and he's one of the names on the list. It's why I'm squeamish on him. I know Jason Kidd doesn't. Is you do have to command the respect of LeBron. And this is something Broussard said, and a lot of people have taken that as, are you kidding me? Why would LeBron not instantly respect whatever coach comes in? Man, because it's real life. And not everyone commands instant respect. Maybe in an ideal situation you would, and that doesn't mean LeBron would act disrespectfully to somebody, but someone that LeBron feels can actually be, to steal a term from our friend Coach Mangini, a force multiplier. Someone who can be a value add. Who is that? It's the only reason, to me, it's not a sure shot it's going to be Ty Lue is because we don't know who's going to get fired this offseason. And sometimes good coaches get fired because ownership gets impatient because of some situation. So we don't know who else is going to be available. But to me, Ty Lue is the guy that we know checks those boxes.
This is a very strange year for LeBron. He doesn't make the playoffs for the first time in as long as he can remember. He suffers a major injury, which sidelined him to the point where his team is out of the playoffs. Now there's a report out there that the Lakers are actually genuinely concerned about LeBron's health. Do you agree with that? Are you concerned about LeBron's health moving forward?
Well, anytime you have that first injury, you know, I think that all bets are off now till the end. That's the first one. We've seen it happen now, and now everything becomes important. That's why I would have rested him this whole time. Everyone else was saying, oh, he should play and everything. No, he had a significant injury. He rushed himself back. You could see it when he got back. He was not in the type of shape, but I believe that the injury, like most great players, or most players, they play through injuries. They aren't able to get the type of numbers. So I believe his injury was significant. I believe that this offseason becomes the most important offseason he's had in a lot of offseasons, not only because of the free agents, because what's he going to do from a cardio standpoint? Now, I do believe in LeBron James, and I believe in him so much because I heard this report. I went back and watched game 1 of the finals last year. And good Lord, LeBron James, if he's even close to where he was, forget about what he did in the Eastern Conference, all those series, but what he did against the Warriors in game 1, if you happen to just forgot about it, go back and watch it. And what he did in that game, the numbers he put up, how he dominated the Warriors, even though they did lose, JR didn't call a timeout, didn't shoot that game. Man, he was incredible. So for me, I am concerned, Jenna, now because I know that injury was significant. I'm concerned about this offseason, what he's going to do. And ultimately, I do know, regardless of how healthy he is, if he don't get another star, he's not going to be able to win. So there's a number of concerns that makes this offseason very important.
And there was a really interesting social media post by the lady who helped him recover from his injury.
Yes.
I think we talked about this off the air. Where she said, listen, essentially he tore his groin and it's a 6-month injury. And she talked about how shocked she was he was back in 6 weeks. Now that does speak to Chris's point that if that's true, and I was adamant he needs to play. If that's true, then it was foolish for him to ever come back. If it is true, like then they knew they weren't winning a championship this year. Forget coming back and being on the shelf. They should have just said, man, shelf him. And by the way, the Lakers stock was really high at that moment. It's like, wow, before LeBron got hurt, beating the Warriors, seemed like real contenders, bad luck. The optimistic angle is, despite the injury, despite not being 100%, since he's been back 28, 9, and 10. 28, 9, and 10 in his averages. The other optimistic part of it is, since his rookie year, the 3 worst years of his career, first year in Miami, first year back in Cleveland, and now this year with the Lakers. The pessimistic side is, yeah, but this year is the latest year, and he's at 50,000 plus minutes. And in the last 8 seasons, he's played 11 because of the playoff runs. And once you get hurt, you tend to start getting hurt. That is what NBA history says. That is what athletic history says. And there was another odd moment, and Windhorst alluded to it in his article the other night, where he slipped on the floor and banged his knee. Those are the types of things LeBron has been as good as any athlete I've ever seen at avoiding. You and I talked about this once. You asked me why he's been so good at not getting hurt. Some of it's his body, some of it's his training, some of it is he's been able to avoid those fracases where guys fall, where bodies, like, he knows
Step on a foot, things like
what
that.
rebound to go for and what rebound not to. So there is real concern.
Yeah.
The one all-time great athlete who had never been injured got injured. And is that a trend or is it an outlier? We won't know until next year.
All right, we'll break there. Coming up, Mike Tomlin speaks out on Big Ben. Hear from him next on First Things First.